Xin chào mọi người đã trở lại với channel của hội game.net và hôm nay chúng ta cùng tìm hiểu thử xem tiêu điểm tướng của tuần này là tướng nào nhé.
Hey guys, what is up and welcome to another episode of Did You Know, this one featuring Morgana. Please don't forget to throw in a like if you did enjoy this episode, but without any further ado, let us jump straight into her abilities. Morgana's Q will be blocked by things like Spell Shield coming from Nocturne or Banshee's Veil itself. On top of that, Morgana's Q can also be blocked by an enemy Morgana's Black Shield. Here's another very interesting one. You can only Spell Shield Morgana's ultimate on the very initial startup of her cast time. If the chain is already on your target, spell shielding it will not do anything as the stun effect will still proc. However, the target that is being chained can still use items like QSS to completely remove the spell. Morgana's passive grants her spell them just like items do, meaning it will work off of things like Ignite and active items. Also, from this and her immense damage on her W, Morgana has surprisingly good lane sustain. Tormented Soil starts its damage the very second that it is placed down, rather than waiting 1 second to buffer and then start the damage. Did you know that Black Shield will always have the highest priority when reducing magic damage over things like Hex Drinker or Lulu's Shield or even Janna's Shield? Even though the max damage on Tormented Soul is huge, sitting at 600 base damage plus a bonus of 165% of your AP, it can be hard to keep someone in it for the full duration without CC, which is why it's common to land your Q first and then use your W. Remember, unlike Spell Shield, Black Shield does not negate the whole spell, such as spells that apply 2 different debuffs, for example, Karthus Wall. If Morgana got Karthus Wall on her while she has her Black Shield ready to go, the slow will be negated, but the MR deduction will not. As you can see in the upper left portion of the screen, her MR still went down. Did you know that Black Shield has no cast time? This means that she can be using it while moving around, which can be very useful to cast it in those very tight, close situations. If a spell has enough AP to break the shield in one go, and it also has CC on top of it, so Morgana's Snare or Lux's Q, the CC will still be negated even though the spell broke the shield. A neat thing to look out for when playing Morgana is that her ulti, Soul Shackles, can still become active when an invisible target comes near you, and on top of that, you can still cast it. However, this will not reveal the targets. Here's a pretty interesting one. Morgana's ultimate will still persist even if she dies and comes back from something like a G8 or a Zillion ulti. This can be very important to remember in your next Morgana game, especially in a big teamfight. Morgana's Dark Binding can also be very useful to check bushes. You can throw it in the bush, and if you see it stop and not continue to its full duration, someone is probably in there. Morgana's ultimate is not a channel-like spell. This means that you can use it, pop Hourglass while it is still chaining the enemies, and it will still persist and stun them. Granted, of course, that they don't run out of the range. Did you know that the projectile speed of Morgana's Q is 1200, making it a very average speed? Alright guys, let us jump into some really cool facts and lore about Morgana. Did you know that Morgana gets her name from Morgan Le Fay, who is also known as Morgana from King Arthur legend? She was a sorceress. Further backing this up, in development, Morgana was actually named Morgana Le at first, then Morgana Hex, and then just Morgana. Apparently, her story and Kale's story resemble the story of Lucifer and Michael from John Milton's Paradise Lost. This is because Morgana is considered evil and Kale is considered good, and also because the two are sisters. Speaking of which, Morgana hates her sister Kale and wants to kill her before Morgana goes back to her own world. This is a pretty good time to dive into Morgana's lore, which states that she fought against Kale's side of winged beings with immortality who fight to perfect order and justice, and Morgana fought against it, looking at those people as a tyranny of her kind, which is why she is now considered a fallen. Morgana was once among these beings since she too has wings. She ended up getting forbidden might in order to become proficient at the black arts with only one goal in mind: to defeat the general of the opposition's army, Kale, her sister. Kale destroyed any connections she had with Morgana after Morgana refused to join her cause. Morgana then became strong enough to rival Kale, and as the two were about to have their final showdown, Morgana was suddenly summoned to Valorant. There she made a deal with the League's summoners to fight in exchange for more power. Now that Kale is also in the league, Morgana fights willingly just to be able to kill Kale over and over again, until she has no more bonds holding her from the Institute of War, to which she can finally destroy Kale once and for all and then return home a hero. Apparently, Morgana and Kale were the first champions to be revealed to have relations as relatives. Oddly enough, Morgana apparently reaches the highest attack damage among ranged champions, sitting at 114.5 at level 18 base attack damage. However, on the contrary, her auto attack range is among the shortest at 425. Exiled Morgana refers to her appearance just after she was branded as a fallen. Apparently this skin was made by Riot based on a creation by a summoner named Powage. Sinful Morgana is based on a bakery she owned in Noxus. However,
Thân mọi người đã coi qua clip và đây là clip được lấy nguồn ở trên mạng về, và cũng cảm ơn cái kênh Liên Minh Huyền Thoại ở trên YouTube để cho mình được cái ý tưởng làm về những cái tướng ở trong Liên Minh Huyền Thoại. Ngoài ra bạn cũng có thể vào trang web hội game.net và ở thể loại game online ở Liên Minh Huyền Thoại, thì ở trong cái thể loại này nó sẽ có thể tập hợp những cái bài viết nói về truyền thuyết hay là những cái bài viết hướng dẫn cách chơi, thì bạn có thể vào ở trong đây để bạn kiếm những cái cách chơi, những cái tướng mà bạn đang yêu thích. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại. Nhớ subscribe nếu mà clip này nó có giá trị đối với bạn. Xin chào. Thân mọi người đã coi qua clip và đây là clip được lấy nguồn ở trên mạng về, và cũng cảm ơn cái kênh Liên, Minh, Huyền, Thoại ở trên YouTube để cho mình được cái ý tưởng làm về những cái tướng ở trong Liên Minh Huyền Thoại. Ngoài ra bạn cũng có thể vào trang web hội game.net và ở thể loại game online ở Liên Minh Huyền Thoại. Thì ở trong cái thể loại này nó sẽ có thể tập hợp những cái bài viết nói về truyền thuyết hay là những cái bài viết hướng dẫn cách chơi, thì bạn có thể vào ở trong đây để bạn kiếm những cái cách chơi, những cái tướng mà bạn đang yêu thích. Xin chào và hẹn gặp lại. Nhớ subscribe nếu mà clip này nó có giá trị đối với bạn. Xin chào.